Hi, guys. This is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Today, I want to come to you to speak to you about this very important area of growth. If we're to grow and change and really kind of be be free from a lot of the trauma and pain that we've suffered in our past, we have to learn to forgive. And this is a very difficult thing to do for many of us because we question and say, why should I forgive this person who hurt me in this way? What forgiving them is just going to make them feel as if what they did was right. But I think if we understand what forgiveness really does, that we can kind of come to a place where we can freely forgive others, realizing that really it is us taking back our power, right, to be able to do this so that we can live the lives that we deserve. I know that many of us know the feeling of unforgiveness and how it makes us feel. There's always this person is always attached to us in some way. We're always thinking about the things they did to us because we keep regurgitating this situation, right? Because that makes us feel good, right? This person did some horrible harm to us, and we might even be going and telling everybody else all this thing that this person did to us, right? And so this further kind of cements that thing into our subconscious, and we just keep remembering all this horrible thing that this person did to us. And what that does, guys, if we don't realize it, it's like we're carrying around this baggage with us, right? We are constantly attached to it because we hold it close and we hold it dear to us, because I am entitled to feel this way because this person really hurt me, right? Now, we don't even realize the trauma that is causing in our lives. We experience the result of this, but sometimes we are so caught up into our own unforgiveness and resentment that we fail to see and to realize that this thing is harming us, not only emotionally, but also physically. Guys, when you hold on to unforgiveness, it can cause you to be sick, physically sick. Because what unforgiveness does is every time you think of this person's name, you have all this acid churning up inside of you, reaching up into your chest and into your throat and eating out your guts. Literally. Right, guys? I'm kind of dramatic. I'm sorry. Right? But this is what happens when you hold on to unforgiveness. It can eat you alive, literally. Okay? And makes you into a very miserable person that nobody wants to be around. All right, so if you decide you're going to choose to forgive people so you can move on with your life to live a healthy life, then you've come to the right place. So I'm going to speak about 4 different ways that can help us, that can basically help us to kind of dim that kind of resentment that we might feel to try and forgive somebody who's really hurt us. And by realizing that really we will always come out on the top when we choose to forgive somebody else that's hurt us, we will always become the winner. And we are the only ones who can take back the power from this thing, which is unforgiveness, that is like holding something over our heads. It's like we are always attached to this thing. We don't think of it that way, but that is really what is happening. All right, so one of the things that we can do, guys, before I go on any further, is that we have to recognize a lot of us we hold unforgiveness for our parents or for our caregivers, whoever that might be, or our family members, right? And what we have to realize is that when we forgive others, it does not say that we're forgetting what they did, right? It's not saying that we're forgetting what they did and we're now going to allow these people back into our lives to do the same things to us all over again. That's not what it means. Forgiveness means you're letting go of that trauma and that pain that person caused you, so you can now move on in a healthy way to live your life that you deserve. That's what forgiveness is, right? It's going to be something that extricates you from this this hold that that person has on you. Because believe it or not, you think that you are free because you believe you have this power and you are hating this person, you're not forgiving that person, but you are actually tied to that person. You are connected to that person with that unforgiveness that you have for them. So to disconnect yourself from that person now, what you have to do is to recognize that many individuals, guys, they just don't know any better. I'm not saying that they don't know they're doing wrong. I'm saying that they have done all these things to people before and acting out of that way of thinking and being because of their toxic belief systems of how to interact and have relationship with people, right? That they either decided they liked the way that this felt and they continue to do that, right? Those are the ones that you know for sure that you're going to stay away from. Now there are others who, because of the way they were brought up, just like our parents, and they continue to perpetuate that toxic behavior into their adult lives, and they treat you the way that they were treated, and they continue to do that. And I'm not saying that they're not to be blamed for what they did. They are absolutely to be blamed. The problem is these people have not learned. They have not resolved their trauma, and so now they come and they want to know, make you feel the way they felt, right? So they perpetuate that trauma onto you. And so, because these people, right, did not change, did not recognize they need to change, that did not recognize that they can change, they stay in that trauma and they spew out their venom. Yeah, I'm kind of whatever. They spew out their venom on whoever it is that they have the opportunity, or whoever it is. This is a trick. This is a word, guys, that will allow them to do it. So in a way, when you were children, you didn't have any capacity to, you didn't have the power to say, no, I'm not going to put up with this. No, I can't do this, because you depended on these people, if they were caregivers, to take care of you, to be there for you, to look after you, to feed you, to clothe you, to put shelter over you, right? So you couldn't do anything. You felt helpless. But now you are an adult. You have a job. You probably have your own family. You have your own place that you live. You have your own car. You are no longer dependent on these people who hurt you, right? For survival, because that's what the fear was when you were a child. But now you're no longer dependent on these people for survival. You now have the autonomy and the power to be able to make your own decisions and to live the way that you choose to live, right? So by forgiving that person or these people or whatever it is, this friend, this family member, this caregiver, you are taking back your power, which they had when you were a child. All right? Or if you were in a relationship with a spouse who you totally depended on for financial support, you're now away from that, and you're now independent and doing your own thing and living your life. Forgive them, because now they have no power over you anymore. You can take your power back by forgiving them, letting it go, so that you can move on to live a healthy and happy future, the way that you deserve to live. All right? The next thing is that now that you're an adult, guys, with that autonomy, you can choose to do what you need to become healthier and do things differently than what your caregivers did. This kind of tied into the first one. But a lot of people believe we're still living from our childhood. It's like there's a little child inside of us that's still hurting, that's still in pain, that's still traumatized. And so we're still living from that child experience of what we experience, and that we need to forgive others for. Well, we just have to realize, as I mentioned earlier, that we are now adults with the autonomy and the power to choose to do differently. All right? The next thing is that to realize, guys, that all of this happened, it already happened. And we cannot change what happened in our past. We can heal from it, but we cannot change it. We can learn from it, but we cannot change it. We can choose to do something differently from what the people did to hurt you, but we cannot change it, right? So therefore, if you're going to be sitting there holding onto your past, you know, I know of people who, anytime I speak with them, all they go back to is their past, all the trauma that they suffered all the time. They do not realize that by just holding on to that past, and we're always regurgitating what happened in the past, is that they're now creating stronger bonds in their subconscious around that. And you know, you can only change your future in the present. So if in the present they're still living in their past, they're really basically creating their past again in their future, because whatever you focus on is what you create, right? It gets bigger. That's what you create. So therefore, guys, the people who always focus on their past and they live in that past and they will not forgive anybody who did them wrong in their past, they're the only ones that's suffering. If you realize that you cannot change your past and you cannot change what those people did to you or the way that they hurt you, then you realize that the only way you can move forward now and live a healthy life is to forgive them and move forward. You have that power to do that. Forgive them and move forward, right? That's the only way you're going to change it. If you keep holding on to that, you're just going to get more of that. In your adult relationships, you might go and have a partner who did the same thing to you, because you never healed from that hurt in the past. The next thing is to realize that holding on to forgiveness, and this may have come out in another way in past points I made, is that when we hold on to unforgiveness, we are the ones who are imprisoned. We are the ones that are in prison and imprisoned by our past and by the things that the people did to us, because we cannot move forward, right? Because we continue to focus on that negative thing that this person did to us, the way that person hurt us, and you find yourself stuck in this place. If you recognize that, and that the only way that you can move forward is to forgive them, then that will make it easier for you to understand that in a way you're just freeing yourself from this person. That's what you're doing when you choose to forgive them. Realize also, the next point is that if you realize that you're doing this for you, you're not doing it for these people who hurt you. You're doing this for you. For you. You're the one who needs the freedom from this. You are in bondage. You are still in bondage if you're still holding on to that pain and that trauma. You're still in bondage. You have not resolved it, so you can heal and move forward. All right? Also knowing that you are not the first and you will not be the last person to suffer some kind of trauma from anyone, right? If you realize it and recognize that, it will be easier for you to let go of these people that hurt you, forgive them, and move on. And remember that forgiveness does not mean that you're forgetting it so that you will allow the same people or other people to come back into your life and create trauma in your life that you have to forgive them for. Because now you can create boundaries. If you heal, when you heal, you will learn to create boundaries that will allow people to recognize that, no, I'm no longer going to put up with that kind of behavior from you. Right? So therefore, you get to a place where you are free to now move into a new part of your life, a healthier way of handling situations, a healthier way of living. All right, that is very freeing, guys. And I hope that someone learned something from this video. Hope that it will make it easier for you to forgive those who hurt you in the past or is currently hurting you, right? And it's not about them, it's all about you. Okay? This is Christine, your relationship and mindset mastery doctor and your leverage for change. Until next time, guys, keep growing. Take care.